friends. My name is Shilpa Kakkar. I am from MB Patel English Medium Secondary and Higher Secondary School. Today I am going to take History chapter number 3. The name of the chapter is Arrival of Europeans in India. We have already when British came to India, they came with the motive of earning profit. And as they earned profit, French also got attracted with it. With that, French started established French East India Company in Paris in 1664 and came to India to trade with India. They gave the tough fight to British. They started establishing their supremacy and controlled east coast of India at Chandranagar and Pondicherry. Not only in India, but in Mauritius and the islands of East India, they started capturing that areas, and that led to the struggle between France and England started because British was already settled in India and they were earning a lot of profit. French came with the motive of trading and earning profit. That was not liked by Britain. Thus, the war started in 1742 between Britain and French East India Company in India. France sent General Dupleix to India, who was very powerful, and he wanted him to give a tough fight so that they can win in India. French Governor General Dupleix, he almost expelled British from India. As he was very powerful, British could not stand against him. They became even successful in Hyderabad also, and they established their supremacy over Rajamundry, Mustafanagar, Illore and Sikakol also. In 1750, there started the internal issues of India, and that resulted in the war in 1750. Again, British stand Clive, who was very powerful and with a very good administrator, with good tactics, he gave a challenge to France. He defeated French at Tiruchirappalli, and finally Dupleix was called back by France. In 1760, Karnataka War was fought between British East India Company and French East India Company. French were defeated in that war, and finally they underwent the agreement. The agreement was not to interfere in the each other's territories. Hold of British power was tightening day by day. They were very smart. They were increasing their power and developing their trade centers very quickly. They started establishing factories in South India and made a fort, St. George in Chennai. They overtook the Mumbai island from British government and fortified it and shifted their center from Surat to Mumbai. Very smartly and effectively they convinced the Nawab of Orissa and Bengal and got the permission to trade in Orissa and Bengal. They established their factories in Balasore, Patna and Dhaka. Dhaka was part of India at that time. Today it is the capital of Bangladesh, but it was part of West Bengal and East Bengal, which was there before that. Before the partition, it was Bengal only. So they established their factories over there. They had to fight a very strong battle with Mughals. Aurangzeb was against British because he knew that British, if they become very powerful, they take away all the wealth from India. So he kept check on them and he crushed them also. He took over the factories from British East India Company, and later on British East India Company with their tactics tried to get back their factories, the permission, and re-establish factories and trade ports in India. That led to their hold over India and the territories of India very strong. With that, they started expanding their business, trade ports, and that led to them, that gave them the freedom to move around in India. First of all, they tried to take Bengal under their supremacy. They had a very good hold over Bengal. And with the Battle of Plassey, which was fought in 1757, it was proved that they are very powerful. Murshid Ali Quli Khan and Ali Vardi Khan, they were not in favor of British. They opposed British East India Company and they did not want them to trade in India, but they could not stop him. Sirajuddaula was very powerful Nawab. He also tried to warn British East India Company for their trade, but uh, they refused the proposals given by Sirajuddaula, and they refused the terms and conditions proposed by them. That infuriated the Nawab. Even that, the fortification of Fort William was not liked by Nawab. With that, they became very angry. Sirajuddaula captured the English factory and the company officials were against him because he was the person who was not allowing them to earn profit. And that is why they conspired against Sirajuddaula. Later on, he took the help of the people of his court, enticed them and took them in their conspiracy. With that conspiracy, they very smartly won the battle of 1757. Englishmen, they conspired, they took the help of the people of the court of Sirajuddaula. He bribed commander-in-chief, leading businessmen, and some other people so that they can win the war against Sirajuddaula. These Englishmen took the favor of Manikchand, Amichand, Jagat Seth and Khadim Khan. Mir Jafar, who was the person who was very ambitious, he wanted to be the Nawab of Bengal. And that is why he joined in the conspiracy by the British, as he was given the promise that if they'll be able to defeat Sirajuddaula and drive him away from Bengal, he will get chance to be the Nawab of Bengal. And thus the war started. In 1757, on 23rd June, near Murshidabad, on the plains of Plassey, the battle started. Nawab was defeated in that battle because of the traitors like Rai Durlab, Mir Jafar, Amit Chand, Manik Chand, Jagat Seth, Khadim Khan. They helped them to assassinate Nawab on the battlefield only. With that, Sirajuddaula lost the battle and very easily the state of Bengal went in the hands of British. Mir Jafar was made the Nawab by English. This battle ensured their dominance in Bengal and they traded freely and looted people of Bengal. When Mir Jafar became the ruler of Bengal, he was ruling very nicely, but he did not like the interference of British. Later on, after some time, he gave his empire to his son-in-law Mir Qasim in 1760. He was very capable and powerful ruler. He built modern army and rooted out corruption from his state. His smartness was again not liked by English. He even kept English under his control. But with the bullying tactics of British enraged him, and they had to wage war with him. Mir Qasim was defeated, but he fled to Awadh. He took the help of Alam Shah and the Nawab of Awadh. All of them went into the treaty to give a fight to British East India Company. All the three joined hands together and again they attacked Bengal. In 1764, all the three forces met at the battlefield of Buxar and were defeated by the English army. This was the worst thing happened because British understood that they were very powerful and nobody can defeat them. All these things started proving them very strong, and they had a very strong hold over Bengal. As the British took hold of Bengal, they did not give up the Nawab's position. They started with the dual administrative system in Bengal. What is dual administrative system? Dual administrative system is that the power remained under the hands of the control of the company, but the responsibilities of the administration was on Nawab only. So all the things which were done without the responsibilities were done by the British, and all the responsibilities and the duties were of Nawab. In 1765, this is a very important date because during that time they started with a dual administrative system in Bengal, and with that they became the real rulers of Bengal. They had political, military, justice, police under their control, and company started receiving Diwani rights and started collecting revenue from Bengal. That resulted in the exploitation of Bengal because all the profit, all the good things were earned by British and they were sending it back to Britain. All the profit and the good things were sent to Britain, and that is why it completely exploited Bengal, which was once upon a time a very prosperous state. It faced few famines also, but due to the revenue policy of British, they found that it was difficult for them to survive, and that prosperous state turned to a pauper state. British established its supremacy, and different governor generals collectively in different parts of India started establishing their supremacy. Warren Hastings, Cornwallis, Wellesley, East India Company, they defeated Marathas, Tipu Sultan and Mughals. Later on, when they were afraid of Russia They thought that they'll come from the Sindh side, so they conquered that area also. They, they were under the fear that Russia might enter via Afghanistan and Sindh. So they captured the Sapta Sindhu area, took hold of that area also, and that is why they captured Sindh. Charles Napier attacked and annexed Sindh and take it into the British Empire. Dalhousie was very good support to British ruler. British established its rule because of Dalhousie mainly. He framed Khalsa policy, the policy of annexation, and he made all the efforts to establish British rule in India. He adopted 5 ways to annex the Indian kingdoms under the British rule. The first one was, if any ruler died without leaving behind any heir, that kingdom would go under the British rule. Those kingdoms were Satara, Nagpur, Jhansi. He even refused to recognize rulers and refused to pay pension to them. He snatched away the titles of rulers of Karnataka, Surat, Tanjore. Not only that, he refused to give pension to Nana Sahib Peshwa. Last but not the least, he framed the policy like that if there would be administrative disorder, then that area would go under the British rule, like of Awadh. So these were the 5 ways he adopted to annex the Indian kingdoms under the British rule. So in this chapter, we discussed about advent of Portuguese, Dutch, British, and French. We saw how they tried to establish their supremacy over India. They had the war, they fought amongst themselves, but British became the ruler of India. So for almost 200 years, they ruled in India. Thank you.